She arrived home by 9:30 on Thursday evening. She usually made it home by this hour, sometimes a bit earlier. It was always wise to be cautious. When he returned from the lodge meeting, it was exactly 10:15. You could rely on that timing. Her father had introduced him to the group, and he agreed to join to make them both happy. However, once involved, he found fulfillment in the community work. He excelled at organizing charity and social events, so much so that he was nominated and elected to the Board of Governors. As the chairman of the scholarship committee, he dedicated himself to gathering support and raising funds for the cause. Thanks to his efforts, they managed to offer 2 scholarships annually for deserving students at community colleges. She always ensured everything was neat and presentable when he got home. Sometimes she went to bed, but more often she waited for him. They would chat about their day, updates on the scholarship fund, and the ordinary conversations couples have before bedtime. Occasionally, they made love, though more often, they simply held each other until sleep took over. The first sign that something was off came when she pulled into the driveway. The garage door wouldn't open. His car was parked at an odd angle, blocking both doors. A wave of discomfort washed over her as she stepped out of the car. He had just spoken to her minutes ago, and she had told him she was home. Damn, she loved this house. She had always been an advocate for apartment living, but she had let him convince her to settle here when her lease ended. It was a relatively new 3-bedroom home on a modest lot. The best feature was the porch, which wrapped all the way around the house. At the front, there was a swing set beneath the ceiling fans. They often sat there, gently swaying, enjoying the warm summer evenings. She was perceptive enough to understand what he had in mind. This was their family home. From here, she could see the swings and kiddie pool in the enclosed backyard. One of her happiest memories occurred just last month when they were planting a new flower bed. She tossed a bit of soil at him to get his attention. "Hey, you. Hi yourself. Did I miss a spot?" "No, you're not quite ready. We still need to mix the fertilizer and lime before planting." "Not that I'm ready. I'm ready to have a baby." Thank goodness the flower beds were soft, she thought, as he lowered himself onto her and pulled her close. From then on, their love-making was slow and tender, more about connecting on a deeper level than just physicality. She had never felt more cherished. What amazed her most was that he shed tears. He was always so composed, so self-assured. She stepped onto the porch and headed to the front door, trying to move as quietly as possible. "Hey, Les." She startled. He was sitting in the swing. The porch light was off, and she hadn't noticed him there. "Jesus, Kenny, you scared me." "Come on, let's go inside." "No." "Let's sit for a while. Let's enjoy the breeze." He patted the spot next to him on the swing. "Where have you been? You said you were home, but you weren't when I got back." She shifted uncomfortably on the swing. "I didn't want to sleep yet. I remembered I was almost out of gas, and I didn't want to deal with it in the morning. So I ran to the corner market. There was barely a quarter tank left, and she hoped he wouldn't check. He reached out and grabbed her by the shoulder. "Really? I could have sworn you just came from the Hideaway Motel on 5th, room 69. Funny, isn't it? That's the number, right? Jerry's superstitious about these things. Isn't that where you two usually meet every Thursday from 6:30 to 9 o'clock? She sighed, trying to pull her hand away, but he squeezed it tightly. "Relax, Les. I'm not going to hurt you, but I want you to promise me you'll listen without interrupting. I promise that when we're done, it'll be your turn to speak, and mine to listen. Will you do that for me?" "Okay." She huddled up, curling herself into a tight ball, and sniffled loudly. He continued in a calm, emotionless voice. "When I first found out, I couldn't believe it. One of your friends saw you?" "No, I don't know who it was. She sent me an email from a public account. I ignored it at first, but the seed was planted. It crept into my mind until I had to confront it. So I checked it out. I had a friend keep an eye on the house. Do you have any idea how disgusting it was to ask him for that? Especially since he's a friend of both of ours. That favor likely ended my friendship with him. It was awful to see him struggle with his feelings when he told me about the house. He even had pictures of you two going in and out of the motel room, kissing both hello and goodbye. Luckily, he doesn't know what kind of person he was. He tries to avoid me now. I think the pain he saw in my face that day, he still sees it whenever he looks at me. Small sobs escaped her. She tried to speak, but he gently placed a finger to her lips. Hush, you promised to listen first. He kept his fingers on her lips until he felt her nod in agreement. Good. I'll try not to be too long. The porch lantern wasn't on. Only the light filtering through the living room curtains illuminated the scene. Though he spoke in an even tone, his face was a mask of anguish and pain, but in the darkness, she couldn't see it. When he showed me the pictures, I swear, the sound of my heart breaking was deafening. It was literally ringing in my ears. But after thinking it through, I had to know why. Why could you two do this to us? For the first time in a long while, his composure faltered and a sob tore through him. For a moment, he took a deep breath, struggling to regain control. Your own sister, Leslie, how could you? When your mother passed away, she took you in and practically raised you. At 15, the last thing she wanted was to take on the responsibility of a 9-year-old. But she managed. She skipped dates, dances, school events, anything to be there for you. Your dad told me one your money was so scarce that she even sacrificed Christmas so you could have gifts under the tree. She loved you like a daughter, more than a sister. You know, sooner or later, she'll find out, even if she doesn't deserve it. But I'll never tell her. I love her too much to hurt her that way. She might forgive Jerry. She's the best woman I know. But as for you, Les, I'm not sure her heart is big enough to forgive you. Tears started to fall from her eyes, growing faster as the reality of her actions hit her. She remembered the thrill, the feeling of superiority when she held a secret, when she thought she could get away with something. Now, it seemed so immature. Her mind raced, scrambling for ways to undo the damage, desperately hoping she could fix everything. How could she have been so foolish? But deep down, she always believed that he loved her so much that he would forgive anything. That was her anchor, her excuse. Even if she were caught, she believed he would never leave her. But for the first time, doubt crept into her heart. I should have known less. It consumed me. That's why I bugged your purse. Remember that flashlight I bought for you? It was also a voice recorder. It's amazing what you can find online. What struck me, though, was how flat it all seemed. There was no chemistry between you two. It was like, here we are. Let's do this and go home to our families. One time, he even called it a quickie, and you giggled and agreed. If it meant so little to both of you, why keep doing it? Oddly, that gave me hope. If it really meant nothing, maybe it would end soon. If it did, I would have kept your secret, buried it forever. I had a plan. I was going to make it harder for you two to meet, if it meant so little, and I made it difficult. Dropped enough hints to scare you off. I thought you'd just give up. I even took the recorder out of your purse. But then I did something stupid. I listened to it. You want to know why I cried when you said you were ready for our baby? It was because I thought it meant your affair was over. He paused for a moment, his silence weighing heavily between them. He took her hand, shaking it gently when she tried to speak, signaling that her time would come. After a while, he resumed. Then I listened to that damn tape. It sealed your fate, Les. I heard you tell him it was the last time. When he said forever, I swear, I heard angels singing, but they were demons, gnashing their teeth in delight. If you don't remember your response, I still have the tape. He pressed a button on the recorder, and her own voice filled the air. Of course not, Jerry. Just long enough to get pregnant. I love him, and I want to make sure it's his baby. 2 weeks after the doctor confirms I'm pregnant, you'll be back in the game. We might have to see each other more often. All my friends say pregnancy makes you horny all the time. Be glad Kenny will be around to back you up, even in the darkness. Kenny could see how pale her face had gone. Her quick, shallow breaths were a clear sign of panic. He waited for her to steady her breathing. You have no idea what's been going through my mind, Les. Ugly things. Things so cruel and vile. I'm ashamed they even crossed my mind. I thought about destroying you, maybe even killing Jerry. A slow, painful death. But after some time, I calmed down and started thinking more clearly. For the last 2 weeks, I've been trying to figure out what to do. It took me a while, but now I have the perfect revenge. You're dying to know, aren't you, Les? She felt her heart race. Well, honey, here it is. It was too easy. I don't know why I didn't think of it sooner. You won't love me anymore. There will be no more Kenny and Les. From now on, it's just Kenny, just Leslie. We're not one anymore. We'll never have children. Those 2 little girls I dreamed of, the ones I thought should be like you, won't ever exist. A little boy with your grace and my height, he'll never be. We'll never go to LeMay's class together. I'll never rub lotion on your belly to prevent stretch marks. I'll never hold your hand when you give birth. We won't share those childhood moments. I won't be there to see you off to kindergarten, middle school, high school, or college. None of it will happen. No talks about the birds and the bees. We won't celebrate sports wins or console each other after losses. No driving lessons. I won't lose sleep when our kids start dating. No grandchildren. When your hands shake and you can't cut the cake for our golden anniversary, I won't be the one to help. You won't grieve for me, and I won't grieve for you when one of us is gone. This house we loved so much, the one I turned down an offer to buy, it'll never hold our memories. Finally, tears welled up in his eyes. You killed us, Les, just like you would have if you pulled the trigger on a gun. I've thought about it too much. I'm tired of thinking, of crying, of feeling lost. There must be someone out there, a good woman, who wants a man whose only talent is loving her with all his heart. Not next week, not next month, but soon. Soon, Les. I'll start looking. I'm sure she's out there somewhere. He let go of her hand and stood up, brushing his pants off distractedly. I'm leaving now, Les. I've taken what I needed. It was very little. I wanted nothing to remind me of you. I didn't take a single picture of us. I've got enough memories in my head to last a lifetime. He reached the end of the porch and turned to face her. I hope you find someone, Les. Remember that when you do, I'm not going to leave town or change jobs, so we'll run into each other now and then. Please don't try to talk to me. I'll leave quietly if I can, loudly and rudely if I must. One more thing before I go. It's up to you to tell your family about this mess. Clean it up however you want. Just don't make me the bad guy. Say it didn't work out, and I'll back you up. Oh, and tell Jerry to stay away from me. If I see him in a bar, restaurant, or anywhere public, tell him to leave. I'd never hurt you physically, but he doesn't deserve anything, and frankly, I don't even know if I can control my anger. He was about to get in the car when the shock of the moment began to hit her. She rushed toward him and grabbed his arm. Wait. Please wait. You said I could talk once you were done. Please sit down. Let me explain. I'll beg if I need to. I swear I'll never touch another man again. He gently pulled her hand away. Les, never. Never touch me again. I just did what I swore I'd never do to you. I lied. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to hear your explanations, your excuses. I don't want to hear your promises. It's over, Les. You have no idea how sorry I am. He didn't say another word. He got into his car and drove off. She sat on the steps, crying uncontrollably as he disappeared into the night.